Welcome to the Global WarWatch Network. Today we're looking at something really fascinating. It sits right at that crossroads of ambition, tech, and national security. India wants its own Iron Dome by 2035. Big question is, can it really build one? We're talking huge costs, years of R&D probably, and some untested technology. Is the Sudarshan Chakra more dream than reality? We've looked through defense journals, news reports, expert analyses to give you a solid picture of India's plan here for its own missile defense shield. We're going to unpack the vision, the challenges, and what it all might mean for India's strategic future.
Yeah, and what's really striking from the sources is this tension. There's a clear strategic need, no doubt about it. But then you have these huge practical hurdles. It's a really ambitious goal, and our sources really do highlight the layers of complexity involved for you, the listener, to consider.
Absolutely. So let's start there with the vision. What exactly is the Sudarshan Chakra system, and what kicked off its development right now?
Okay, so Sudarshan Chakra, it's India's plan for a homegrown missile defense shield. The idea is to protect critical strategic sites. India's Chief of Defense Staff, General Anil Chauhan, he announced it. So the plan is to have it operational within 10 years. So by 2035, that's pretty quick.
10 years. Wow. And this isn't purely military planning, is it? Seems like there's political weight behind it, too.
Oh, definitely. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had already mentioned wanting a national missile defense system before, but the urgency, it really became crystal clear, apparently, after a confrontation with Pakistan back in May 2025. Reports from that time suggested, threats from both missiles and drone swarms that really highlighted some vulnerabilities.
Right, so it's a direct response to what they see as evolving real threats. What's it designed to actually counter? What kind of threats?
General Chauhan was specific. He said it needs to handle threats from both missiles and unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, drones. And that broad scope is quite significant. It's not just about traditional missiles anymore, including UAVs right from the start, is telling.
Okay, so it's often called an analog to Israel's Iron Dome. How accurate is that comparison, really? And maybe just briefly, what should listeners know about the Iron Dome itself?
That's a really important point. Israel's Iron Dome, it's operational, it's highly effective, sure, but it's crucial to understand what it is and what it isn't. It's part of a bigger system, a multi-layered air defense network. It works alongside short, medium, and long-range assets. It's not a standalone fix-all. Iron Dome is primarily for short-range rockets, artillery shells aimed at specific populated areas or key sites. It's great at that job, but it's not designed to cover an entire country against every possible threat.
Okay, got it. Part of a larger layered system specialized for certain things. So how does India's Sudarshan Chakra concept differ then?
Well, first off, the scale. India is vast. Protecting critical sites across a subcontinent is just a fundamentally different challenge than Israel's geography. And second, as we mentioned, explicitly including drones right in the concept. That immediately makes it different from, say, a classic surface-to-air missile battery that's just focused on intercepting missiles. It suggests India is thinking about this wider, more integrated threat picture from day one. Drones, missiles, the whole package.
That makes sense, especially with drone tech evolving so fast. But
Yeah.
building something like that, an Iron Dome-style shield, but for India, what does that actually demand? Resources, know-how?
Oh, it's a colossal undertaking. You need immense expertise, radar tech, missile guidance, command and control software, cybersecurity, you name it. And then there's the time and money. Years, probably decades, and huge funds just for the R&D, the testing, then actually producing and deploying it. It's not just about the interceptors, it's the network. Advanced sensors, early warning, command centers, all needing to work seamlessly over vast distances.
Yeah.
It's monumental.
And this is where, it gets really interesting. Because experts looking at this, they express a lot of skepticism about India hitting that 2035 deadline. Why? What are the main sticking points?
The reasons are, they're complex and pretty deep. Creating a system to protect a country the size of India is, first, technically incredibly difficult, and second, the cost is astronomical. Some experts we looked at basically called it nigh impossible on the current timeline, considering the scale, the tech needed, and frankly, India's track record.
Right, that track record. It's not just about this project, is it? There's some history there that fuels the skepticism.
Exactly. The skepticism gets a big boost from the fact that, India's been trying for over 40 years to build its own fighter jet engine. For fourth-gen aircraft, mind you, not even the latest stuff. And they haven't fully cracked it yet.
Yeah.
That points to some systemic challenges in developing really complex, high-end defense technology indigenously. Jet engines are tough, but a nationwide missile shield, arguably even tougher.
40 years on a jet engine. So what do analysts say are the root causes? Why these persistent hurdles in big defense projects?
Analysts tend to point to a few key things, often inefficient management, sort of bureaucratic drag in the state-run defense sector. Also, sometimes maybe overly optimistic assessments of what can be done domestically, perhaps driven by the push for self-reliance, and sometimes a reluctance maybe to really bring in private local companies effectively, or even to partner deeply with foreign firms that have decades of experience in these specific fields. So it's not just about money or pure tech, it's about the whole system, the management approach, the ecosystem for developing these massive projects.
That really drives home how these internal factors can be just as big a hurdle as the technology itself. For you, the listener, these aren't just technical details. They show the deep complexities nations face trying to build critical defense tech themselves.
One analyst mentioned off record a situation where a key software bit for an existing system got stuck for months, not because of tech problems, but just bureaucracy. Who signs off on it? That kind of thing. It happens.
Wow. Okay, but despite all these challenges, India isn't exactly starting from zero here, right? What do they already have in place? What efforts are underway in air defense?
No, definitely not starting from scratch. The DRDO, India's Defense Research and Development Organization, they've been working on air defense for a long time. They recently tested something called the Integrated Air Defense Weapons System, or IADWS. It seems to combine various things, surface-to-air missiles, shorter-range interceptors, even experimenting with lasers. So it shows they're actively working on layered defense concepts.
Okay, so testing a multifaceted approach, which does sound like that layered idea you mentioned with Iron Dome. Any other systems?
Yeah, they also have the Akash system. That's a medium-range surface-to-air missile system they developed domestically. So there's definitely a foundation in missile tech. These are solid efforts, building blocks. But the leap from these sort of individual systems to a truly integrated nationwide strategic shield like Sudarshan Chakra envisions, that's the massive jump. It's the integration, the networking, the command and control over thousands of kilometers, handling multiple threats simultaneously. That C4ISR piece, as they call it, that's the really hard part. It's like going from having good musicians to conducting a symphony orchestra flawlessly.
That's a great way to put it. It brings us right back to the core question. We see the ambition, the Sudarshan Chakra, clearly driven by security needs, backed by political will. But the road to 2035 looks, well, incredibly difficult. Technical complexity, huge costs, and this history of challenges in indigenous defense projects.
And looking broader, India's journey here with Sudarshan Chakra, it really reflects what many nations grapple with trying to achieve defense autonomy. It's always this balancing act, isn't it? National aspiration versus the hard realities of technology, global supply chains, and just limited resources. It really pushes the boundaries of what a nation can realistically do on its own, especially quickly.
So it leaves a big question hanging there for you, our listener. Thinking about everything we've discussed, the sheer scale, that 40-year struggle with jet engines, how it compares or doesn't to Iron Dome, the internal system issues, what do you think will be the most critical factor deciding if India's Sudarshan Chakra succeeds or fails by 2035? Will it be a story of indigenous innovation pulling through against the odds? Or will the ambition just prove to be, well, more dream than reality? Thank you for joining us today as we explored India's missile defense ambitions. We really appreciate your time and participation. If you found this discussion insightful, please do like, share, and subscribe to the Global WarWatch Network. We genuinely love to hear your thoughts on this. Let us know in the comment section below. And you can join us on social media too. All the links you need are right there in the description.